When I think of summer, I think of cute romance beach reads. I think of books that take place in summertime. I think of long series that have whole worlds that you can get just like sucked into and you have the time to get sucked into. I thought about all that and have a little over 20 books to recommend for you to read for the summertime this year. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today we are going to be doing a video that I have seen floating around YouTube lately because I think everyone is starting to get that like summer fever. We've had some really nice days here. Right now it's raining, but for the past week we've had some really warm, really nice days and it has really been getting me into the summer mood. So we are going to be going over my summer TBR as well as some book recommendations that I have for you guys for summer. A list of over 20 books here. Some I've read and recommend, some I will read and also recommend because I think they have a lot of summer vibes. So that is what we're doing today. Like I said, I have seen some of these videos floating around, but I haven't watched any of them. I think after I film this, I'm gonna watch them and see if these are common book recommendations. I have a bunch of books here that I have in the physical copy, but I also have a bunch of books that I have in the ebook copy, like on my Kindle, and we're gonna include all of them in this video today. So yes, we are going to be talking about all the summer books to get us into the summer mood, and I am so excited about it. First, we have The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I have had this book for like over a year now. I'm pretty sure I bought it last summer. I think it was really popular last summer. It is about a girl, Meredith. Also, it has a lot of Taylor Swift references in it, which is another reason why I bought it. For one, her name is Meredith, which is Taylor Swift's cat's name. So that's a fun one. Meredith had been going to an annual family vacation with her extended family for years at Martha's Vineyard. And she has just recently lost her sister Claire, but she decided to still go on with the annual family vacation and basically live it for the both of them. There's actually going to be a big summer wedding coming up that everyone's gonna gather for, and they're gonna play a game that they play a lot called Assassin, which I'm pretty sure I played this in college. I think they take like water guns, and if you get shot by a water gun then you're out of the game and whoever is last one standing wins. So they have that game in here, and it says that she partners up with a cute groomsman, and of course the summer romance buds from there. So yeah, a lot of summer vibes. Even this cover is so summery, and I am so excited to read this one. This is one that's on my TBR. I have not read this one yet. And then we have one of, hold on, I'm going hang out with Dad. So next we have another one on my TBR that I just got recently in my most recent bookstore vlog. Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. This is her newest release. It's a second chance romance about Fern and Will, where they had an amazing 24 hours together, and then they agreed to show up at that same location a year later, and then Fern, the girl, showed up and Will didn't. Then flash forward to like 10. My camera's up recording again. So it's about Fern and Will, and then fast forward to 10 years later. Fern is for some reason trying to revive her mother's lakeside resort, and then Will comes out of the blue and offers to help her. So that's where that second chance romance starts. I've heard mixed reviews on this so far. It literally just came out, so I've seen a few people that read it and they're like iffy on it. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel, but this is one on my TBR. All the summer vibes. And then going along with that, one that I read is Every Summer After, which is her first book, Carly Fortune's first book. Everyone said it was kind of very similar to Love in Other Words, where basically there's these childhood friends that meet for summertime at like a summer house, and then something happens, they never talk again, and then 10 years later she comes back because an event had happened that brought her back to the family, and then she meets the guy again and the truth comes out as to what had happened. And it is very summery, all the summer vibes. I did like this book. I think I gave this book like 4 stars. I highly recommend reading it. I read it in an Adirondack chair when I was in Mackinac Island and it was perfect. And then going off of Mackinac Island, I haven't bought it yet, but Forever Never by Lucy Score, I think it is. It's a summer romance that takes place on Mackinac Island, and I am going back there in the summertime in a few months. So I am gonna buy that book to read in Mackinac Island, and I am so excited. I'm pretty sure it's another summer romance. I don't know too much about it. Hello. After more research, I discovered that Forever Never is about Brick Callahan and Remy Ford. It's a second chance romance. Brick Callahan used to be in a relationship with Remy, and then he left Mackinac Island and left her in shambles, it seems like. And now he's coming back and he's trying to figure out what put the shadows in her green eyes, basically. And then it says that there could be danger involved, and it also says you don't fall for your brother's high school sweetheart, your boss's daughter, or your ex-wife's best friend, especially when they're all the same woman. So there you go. Now you know. It's just such a little small coastal town vibe. And then moving on, we have Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I actually just read this book for another video that'll be coming out later. It's a book by the same author of Love and Other Words, and it's very, very OBX vibes, like Outer Banks, that show. It gives all those vibes. Also, look at the cover. It's beautiful. It is about a treasure hunt, basically, where there's Lily, who had a notorious and notoriously absent treasure hunter father that was super famous in the treasure hunting circles, and it alludes back to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which was an old movie that was basically about these outlaws along the outback. He stole a bunch of money during the gold rush times, and then supposedly he buried it somewhere along the trail that this girl basically lives really close to. For the past 10 years, she's been taking people on tours to like find the buried treasure. But then someone books a bachelor's trip. They show up and she realizes it's Leo, who is a past love of hers. Again, 10 years in the past, so another second chance romance trope. You know, they have that reconnection, except she's mad at him. It's like that initial resistance, and then he has to sort of win her over. But they do go treasure hunting, and Lily's dad, who is the famous treasure hunter, he left a map basically saying that he found the treasure before he died and he hid it somewhere. So now it's up to Lily to find it. So they actually go on the treasure hunt, and a bunch of crazy stuff happens. Very treacherous. It has some romance in there, but that's not the main point of it. The main point of it is like the adventure treasure hunting part. So don't go into this expecting a romance, because you're not gonna see it in like you would in these other romance books. Overall summery vibe, adventure vibe, and romance subplot. So highly recommend this book. I think I gave it 4 stars, I'm pretty sure. Very good. And then we have 3 books that I only read the first one. It is the Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. I just read this book, the first book, The Summer I Turned Pretty, Amazon Prime show. And if you don't know what it's about, I don't believe you, because it's literally everywhere. Basically, it's about this girl, Belly, who always goes to this summer house with these 2 boys that she basically grew up with. She's always had a crush on one of them, Conrad, and then Jeremiah's always sort of been her friend. But then she turns almost 16, I think she's about to turn 16, and it's a very coming of age story where she's dealing with a lot of different reactions from the boys, because now she's like, they don't see her as this little sister anymore of their friend that they've known for all their lives, but they see her as this like almost 16-year-old. That's why it's called The Summer I Turned Pretty. She deals with friendships, breakup. She deals with, you know, her first crush, possibly liking her back, possibly not. She deals with people seeing her as something different than a kid, and she deals with that whole moving away from spending time with your parents that you've been so used to spending time with people your own age and going to parties and stuff like that. And I really like the way it's written, because it's a young adult book, but Belly's written in a very almost childlike way, where her inner thoughts are very much like, oh, if I do this, they're gonna see me as older. I'm gonna be an adult now, where it's sort of still that like immaturity of, I want people to see me as an adult, because she doesn't really feel that way, but everyone else is sort of starting to look at her that way. And then it's Not Summer Without You, which is the second book, and then it's We'll Always Have Summer, which is the third book. And I am on this one. I'm on this second book right now that I'm starting to read, but it just gives all the summer feelings. And I was rewatching the series as I was reading this, and it just made it so much better. That series perfectly encapsulates the feeling of summer in it, I think, and I love it. So yes, that's my next recommendations for summer, this entire series. It is a young adult book, so it does read like a young adult book. It's just fun and light, easy beach reading. Then we have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I've talked about this book so much at this point. Basically about Macy and Elliot, who knew each other when they were little because they had beach houses next to each other and they would always spend summers together. Something happens, there's a falling out, and then they meet up 10 years later, and it's suddenly like all of these questions that went unanswered because they were each other's first and only loves. It hasn't been the same since they broke up for either of them. That is what this book is about. It's told in a past and present. So you have your then chapters and then you have your now chapters, and the then chapters are very summery. They have a little library that they read together in. It's beautiful and I love this book. Highly recommend it in general, but if you're in the summer, it's just gonna add that much more to the reading experience because it takes place in the summer. And then we have One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I did buy in my last bookstore vlog video. And I said that the movie has not come out, but it actually has already come out. And basically it's about Emma, who marries her high school sweetheart, Jesse. Jesse goes missing in action basically, and years pass, she heals and she thinks that he's dead and he's not coming back. So then she opens up her heart to her old childhood friend Sam and decides to start a relationship with him, and then suddenly Jessie comes back out of nowhere. It's like her grappling with her past love that she thought was dead and then her current love and which one she's gonna pick. This is definitely on my summer TBR because I feel like just the cover, like they're on a beach with the sand and the palm trees, I feel like it's just gonna be so summery. And I could so imagine myself reading this by the beach while I'm just laying out, and it's gonna be perfect. And then we have The Mistake, which is the second book in the Off-Campus series. This is gonna be on my TBR, but I think you should put the Off-Campus series on your TBR because it is a hockey college romance. It's like a decently big series, and these books are so easily bingeable. I think all of the books revolve around the same group of friends on a hockey team and like their individual romances that they start up. The first one was The Deal, and I read that a few months ago and I really liked that one. I do think this is a good series to start in the summertime. They are so bingeable and you can easily just pick up the next one and just stay in that world for the entire summer. This is the second book, like I said, about John Logan and Grace. They had some sort of romance in the past, and then it's sort of like a second chance. I think she's gonna make him work for it because I guess she realized that whatever they did in the past was a mistake, and now he suddenly wants her back, and she's like, no. So it's a dual point of view, and that's what this book is about. I think it's a really good series to binge during the summertime because they're just so fun, easy, and light, but they do have some deeper plots, like subplots to them. So it's definitely a story that you can get lost in. So yes, that is my next recommendation. And then in the same vein, sort of, we have Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is also a massively huge series. This is the first book in the Addicted to You series, and then once you finish this series, you move on to the Calloway Sisters series, which is in the same world. This is, again, a massive series that I feel like would be so much fun to binge in the summertime. It's about addictions. It's about Lily and Lauren, who have been best friends, and they're sort of in the higher class, and they've been best friends forever, except they both have addictions. Lily is addicted to sex and Lauren is addicted to alcohol, and then they start sort of fake dating to appease their parents that they're not completely gone to their addictions, and then, you know, the romance, I'm guessing, buds from there. And I'm told this is a whole amazing series with like a found family, and people just love this series, and I feel like it would be so much fun to binge in the summertime. And then we have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which just came out again pretty recently. It's about her life is not sort of going how she wanted it to, and then suddenly she meets Dr. Jacob, who they start out as enemies because Dr. Jacob takes the promotion that she has been working for, so she sort of hates him, but then they start exchanging letters, and she sort of realizes that this is not just an arrogant doctor coming in to take over, but there's actually a lot of depth to him. I think it deals with social anxiety a lot. You know, she sort of falls in love with him from the letters. So I feel like that's just a fun romance that you could read easily. Pretty quick. I'm told that it's in the same world as Part of Your World, which is her first book, which I have not read, but it's about the friend or something like that. I could so imagine just reading this again on the beach. Fun beach read romance. And then, moving into the books that I have read that don't have in a physical form, we have Beach Read by Emily Henry. I did read this book last summer, and it's basically, if I remember correctly, about two authors who know each other based on like the author sphere, but they both have lake houses next to each other. But they meet and then they sort of start this competition of, I bet you can't write my genre of book, it's way harder than your genre. And then the guy is like, I bet you can't read my genre book, it's way harder than your genre. January's genre that she writes is romance, I'm pretty sure, and then Gus's genre I think is like sci-fi or historical fiction, something like that. So they both basically challenge each other to write their different style of book because they're both a little bit in a writer's block. And then of course it's a romance from there. I really enjoyed this book as well. My one criticism of it is I feel like it wrapped up quite quickly at the end. Like it was all this build up and then it just wrapped up within like a chapter or two, and I was like, could have expanded a little bit more on that. But it's called Beach Read. It's definitely a good book to read during the summer. It has all those summer vibes in it. Also, going off of the Emily Henry, my next recommendations are Happy Place and Book Lovers. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about either of these books, but I did see Happy Place that just came out. That is like a huge book right now on TikTok and booktube. The cover of it was very summery. It had like floats and everything like that. I'm pretty sure it's a deeper than just like Your Happy Place, but that is definitely a book that I will be picking up soon in the summertime. And then there's Book Lovers, which I heard mixed reviews on. Again, some people loved it, some people hated it, some people just couldn't finish it, they couldn't get into it. I am on a mission to read all of Emily Henry's books because I loved Beach Read so much. And I do feel like all of her books sort of give off that like summery vibe. If you've read them and I'm completely wrong, then please let me know below. But I'm adding those on to my summer TBR. My next one is Malibu Rising, which is a book that I read last summer, and it's by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Malibu Rising is, again, very summery. I loved just reading this out on my hammock with the sun shining. It was perfect. It is about a girl who basically had to grow up a little bit too fast because she had a father that was absent because he was trying to become a rock star. And she has, I think, like 3 younger siblings, and she was basically tasked with picking up the pieces when her father kept leaving her mom over and over and over again. And then eventually her mom passed, and she has to raise these kids basically by herself because her dad is off being a rock star. She has this family restaurant that she's constantly trying to keep up, and it's just a lot on her plate. She grows up a little bit too fast. She's a famous surfer. She has this big, beautiful home in Malibu, and she just feels really empty in it. It's not too much romance, but it's a very family story. The story of like her family and everything like that. It's a past and present. You get to hear the parents' story, and then you bump back to Nina's story. Again, it was a really, really good book, and I highly, highly recommend it. The next book I have that I do not have the physical copies of, but I actually just ordered them, so I'm super excited, but it's the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. And I have been seeing this series all over the place lately. It's a cowboy romance series. I've never really dipped my toe too much in like the cowboy romance besides Something Wilder. That was my first one by Christina Lauren because she was sort of like a cowgirl living in the outback type thing. But this is a fully cowboy romance, and the first book I think is flawless. Just from reviews that I've heard of the book, I have put it on my summer TBR because all of the summer cowboy vibes, and you really get lost in the world. It's just better when you're reading books that have to do with the season that you're in right now. They're just better. The experience is better. So I'm definitely gonna add that series to my list. That is all for my summer book recommendations and TBR. A few that I've read, a few that I haven't read and put on my TBR, and you know, a few that I have read and recommend that you read. I just have been seeing so many good summer books coming out lately, and I am just so excited to read all these amazing summery books. That is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if That always happens when I have a stack of books. I'm just gonna leave this right here. That is all from me today, and thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you are gonna add any of these to your summer TBR. Highly recommend them. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.